Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for being here. My name is Andrew, coming to you from the beautiful Carolinas. Today's topic is going to be, it was over before it ever began. Think about that for a minute. Everyone, if you like the content, please like, subscribe, and share. So I'll jump right in. The relationship, the narcissistic, toxic relationship that you are thinking about, it was over before it ever began. And you may say, what does that mean, Andrew? What are you talking about? Well, I'll tell you exactly what I mean. If you fell in love with the narcissist or befriended them, moved in with them, became their roommate, financially supported them, moved in with them, loaned them money, went into business, etc. The narcissist, remember, they knew who they were and or are, and they knew what they were going to do to you. They knew what they were going to try to extract from you, which again, on the channel, so frequently I mention, it is your resources, which include your time, money, energy, effort, love, empathy, social circle, your business associates, etc. This is what the narcissist wanted to take from you. That is why it was over before it ever began, because you did not have the wisdom back then when you met this individual, the narcissist. You were most likely a people pleaser, a yes person, perhaps even an empath, a kind, loving individual who believed that most people on the planet had your best interest at heart. They don't, they won't, and they never will. Now that is a very difficult pill to swallow. I get it, I understand, but you're getting the wisdom on my channel, and you're understanding that not everybody thinks the way you think. Now you may have thought growing up or in the past that, yeah, most people on the planet are good, kind, loving individuals, and they want the betterment of humankind. Not so fast. Now I'm not painting a doom and gloom picture here. My channel is an uplifting, educational, inspirational, and motivational channel. It's a channel of healing, of growth, of empowerment, of becoming awakened and aware. However, I will say this, that you need a balance of individuals, unfortunately, on the planet, kind of like yin and yang, or you get my point. Things need to balance out. And yes, there are toxic individuals that you will have encountered in the past, and perhaps you're encountering them right now. Maybe you have just identified that your mom or dad is a narcissist, or maybe you figured out that your spouse of decades is a narcissist, or you figured out that your roommate is one, or your teacher, or the person you are a part of a community or organization you're a member of. Who knows? But the point being, maybe it's your brother or sister. It could be anybody. Now again, I'm not walking around the globe every day looking for narcissists. That's not what I do. What I do is I educate people that don't have the wisdom yet, but that soon will. I educate people that have the craving for the knowledge and that want to heal and want to better themselves and learn how to place boundaries in place of their lives. And they don't want to be people pleasers anymore. And they don't want to be yes people. They want to conserve their energy and their time. In other words, all of their resources for themselves. And when their cup is full, they can give back to whomever they want to. However, if they receive a random text in the middle of the night, or at 5 o'clock on Friday, someone's asking them to give them a ride and it's rush hour and it's going to be 3 hours one way. They used to do those things. They don't do them any longer because they now understand those people are just using and manipulating them. Get the message. So it was over before it ever began. Why I shared that, and the thumbnail says what it says, is because you did not know what you were up against. You do now. You're getting the wisdom. Perhaps this is the first video you're ever watching and you're getting your first light bulb moment and you're realizing, oh my gosh, this is so accurate. Everything that this video is describing, I went through it, or I'm going through it. Remember, the narcissist doesn't care about you. They care about what you provide. The narcissist doesn't love you. They can't love. The narcissist doesn't have empathy. They're a bottomless pit. They are, picture a bucket. You go to the beach and you fill up a bucket with water. Okay, well, it holds water for a little while. And then slowly over time, there become holes in the bucket. And eventually, the bucket doesn't hold water anymore. That's a narcissist right there. They're a bottomless pit. They're an insatiable appetite, unquenchable appetite for anything that you possess and or others possess. That's what they have. And remember, you may think, yeah, well, I gave everything to the narcissist. Why did they leave me? Why did they discard me? I'm sure you did give everything. I know for a fact you did. You gave everything and more. They discarded you because your supply source was getting low, most likely, or you were wising up and catching on to them, or they found another new shiny object, a new toy, a new person who couldn't figure out who they were up against yet, or perhaps they recycled an old relationship. But the point is the narcissist realized that you were running low on your resources. Perhaps your health was taking a hit and you didn't have the money in the bank that you used to have, or the social circle. You didn't get invited to all the great parties that you used to get invited to, or you couldn't any longer go surfing or skiing, things like that. See, if you get sick around the narcissist, it's not a good thing. Remember that. They need you to be providing supply for them. And if you're sick, you can't provide supply. What do? You need assistance getting help and getting healed, going to the doctor, perhaps getting in and out of surgery, things like that. Narcissists won't be doing any of those things. They won't. They live for themselves. They care about themselves. They don't care about anybody but themselves. But it was over before it began. This is 100% accurate because you didn't know what you were up against. Remember, if the narcissist, when you first met them, if they gave you a 2-page report and they said, here, read this. Tell me what you think, and this is what I'm going to do to you if you enter the relationship with me. And believe me, this is everything I will do to you. If you read that, would you have entered the relationship? No chance. You would have run for the hills. You would have said thank you, but no thank you. There are 8 billion people on the planet, and I can certainly find another individual to enter a relationship with. I don't need this in my life. But they didn't do that, did they? No. They had you fall in love with them. They had you befriend them. They had you loan them money. They had you go into business with them, etc. They had you, they nailed you down maybe to have children with them. Why? I'll tell you why. Because that's built-in narcissistic supply for 18 plus years. And then they can groom mini-me's that can turn out to narcissists if they want to. And they can certainly weaponize children against you the whole time claiming that they're the parent of the year. They're nothing even close to that. You're doing all the parental work, but they're taking all the credit behind the scenes while they are looking for your replacement, i.e. the new supply. Get the message. There are so many different layers upon layers of this narcissistic abusive cycle. One video can't do it justice, but the point is it was over before it began. When you, let's say that you did fall in love and you did profess those 3 magic words, I love you. I am telling you right now, right then and there, the narcissist knew they had you. They can now play around with you. They can now begin to slowly direct the energy of you towards them even more and more. In other words, at this point, perhaps you guys talked marriage. Perhaps you talked moving in. Perhaps you talked buying houses and selling houses, creating families. Perhaps you talked about entering businesses or the narcissist working or not working. In other words, you were doing everything for the narcissist. You were being an unpaid helper. You were being a walking apology. You were in the zombie-like, trance-like state, the narcissistic fog. The minute you told them you loved them, I can assure you, their eyes lit up with that deep, dark pool of blackness. They were filled with supply. They're like, oh my gosh, I did it. I have this one. It took me a little bit longer than last time, but I have this one. Now what am I going to do? I need to figure it out. Okay, I will slowly begin to devalue them. I will slowly begin to take away from them. I will have them believing in me and my false narrative. I will have them become an extension of me. I will have them doing things for me, raising my kids, spending money and time on vacations, planning for my extended family, doing everything they possibly can do for me while I go out and gallivant the globe and look for their replacement. Yes, that's how it works. Now, does it work immediately like that? No. But over time, this insidious relationship that you're a part of, that's definitely how it works. Notice what I'm sharing with you. How many times would the narcissist text you in the beginning of the relationship? That's right, a lot. They would smother you with fake adoration, all the cute little emojis, and they couldn't get enough of you and figuring out where you were, who you're with, what you're doing, and they wanted to be with you because you were their soulmate, you were the love of their life, etc. And what happened? You fell for it, and you were thinking to yourself, wow, this is too good to be true. First of all, it was too good to be true, but second of all, you didn't know better because you weren't taught about narcissism in school. You had no idea what you were up against, but the narcissist did. They knew exactly what they were doing because they wanted to entrench you in the zombie-like state, the devaluation stage. They wanted to have you existing in the narcissistic fog, not living in the everyday life that people live. And this is exactly where they placed you. And they kept you trapped there where they thrive for a period of time, which was the length of the relationship. But like I'm sharing with you, when you professed that you loved the narcissist, they could not. They're like, this is great. Now I can really slow down on the mask I'm wearing. I don't have to have the fake adoration or fake love that much any longer. I now have a date to get married. I now have a wedding or an engagement ring on my finger, etc. And now I'm getting supply from all my family members and friends and children and everything. This is exactly what happens. And they are in the limelight for a period of time. Let's say the wedding was planned a year later. Well, that's a year of supply right there. That's a year of the narcissist hammering the caterers, hammering the churches, hammering people that can come or can't come. Remember, if you were married to a narcissist, or you are, think about who was or was not invited to that wedding. Believe me when I tell you, that list was strategically formulated. Many people were there. Many people that were there, you probably were like, why would they even be here? Why would they even be there? I'll tell you why. because they provided resources, probably like money or beach houses or houses in Mexico, things like that. Other people that were left off the list, why were they left off the list that you thought should have been there? Well, perhaps they didn't have the resources, or perhaps they figured out that the narcissist was a narcissist and they were uninvited. In other words, the narcissist didn't want any friction at the wedding ceremony and or the wedding week unless they were going to create it themselves. So they did not want anybody who was even wise, who had figured out who they are at the event. And again, they will exclude other individuals that, let's say, that didn't make the cut. They're on a blacklist. Remember, the narcissist sees people in black and white, good or bad, positive or negative. That's just the way it is. There's no gray area. That was a tangent about marrying the narcissist. Understand, if that was you, or it is you, drop comments below. Newbies, believe me when I tell you, you have a long road ahead of you and a mountain of work, but you will do it in time, in your time, you will do it. The healing path is not linear. It takes a lot of time. It takes effort, it takes strength, diligence, commitment, resilience, fortitude, and it takes education. Having said that, the veterans, please drop comments below, help the newbies out on the channel and pay it forward. It was over before it already began. It really was. Let's say that example, that you were in a romantic relationship or friendship, whatever you want to call it, with a healthy individual, stable or healthier individual. Well, you both laid your cards on the table. You said, hey, here's what it is. Let's enter this relationship. Let's be friends, whatever, and let's have fun and do whatever we're going to do. Go golfing or skiing or surfing, whatever you're going to do. And you do it. But there's no hidden agenda. There's no alleged flat tire every week when you're supposed to get a ride from them and you have to go pick them up now. There's no, you go to pay for lunch or the surfing surfboard or whatever, and they forgot their wallet and you have to pay for that. Think about what I'm sharing with you. Here is a pro tip for you. In the beginning of relationships, when you first meet somebody, and this doesn't happen always, but it does happen more and more. It happens enough so I should share it. If you are, let's say you're with somebody and they are offering to pay a couple things up front. Example, you just meet, say you're going out on a date and the person is like, yeah, I'll pay for it, I'll pay for it. And they pay for a couple times and then conveniently they forget their wallet or purse, and it happens more and more. And then all of a sudden they don't have any money and, oh wow, my credit card bill is really piling up. And wow, I just, I paid those lunches and those dinners last month, but I'm hitting a tough patch right now. Would you mind covering for us? Things like that. What happens there is that's an energy shift. They are telling you flat out that they want you to pay for their way. That is a lazy and a cowardly way to do it. Now, it's not everybody, but believe me when I tell you, if somebody is using something that they paid for months ago to remind you that you should be paying for things today, tomorrow, and the next week, that's wrong. That's a red flag. Pay attention to what I'm sharing with you. In other words, what they like to do, that's a mini love bomb stage using cash for a dinner or for a lunch, because they're paying it. They're not going to let you forget it in the beginning of the relationship, so you think that they're a great individual. That's called planting a seed. It is toxic, it's insidious, and it's not right. So that's what I'm sharing. So if you're in a narcissistic relationship, you're going to experience a lot of things that you can't wrap your head around until you get the wisdom on my channel. And that makes sense because, again, you weren't taught this. But that relationship you were a part of, it was over before it began because you entered it under false pretenses. You were not being told the truth. And as a matter of fact, I can assure you this, many of your relationships that you were a part of, whether they were your family, friends, network of neighbors, or business associates, they got a wedge driven between them rather quickly or throughout the body of the relationship. And you probably couldn't figure out why. Well, I'll tell you why. 2 words, smear campaign. The narcissist was driving wedges between you and anyone or anything that mattered to you. They wanted you isolated. They wanted you for themselves. They wanted you kept a prisoner in that mental quagmire of the low vibrational state where they exist. That's where they wanted you. They did not want you to escape. They wanted you needing them. They wanted you thinking about them. They wanted you fixing their problems. They wanted you being their chauffeur, their errand boy, the pool boy, the person that pays the bills, that raises the kids, that does everything for them. That's what they wanted from you. And then one day, what happened? That's right. One day, you try to have an adult conversation, and perhaps you experience reactive abuse, and boom, the very next day, moving van's there, and they are exposed, although not that quickly, but they discarded you, and then it took you about a month to figure it out, and here you are on the channel. Just an example for you. But the relationship was over before it began. Remember, the narcissistic relationship, it usually ends with a thud, a crash, a bang. It usually ends around a pivotal period in your life, which would be a holiday, a birthday, an anniversary, the birth of a kid, the loss of a family member, when you get a new job, when you get fired, when you become ill. So many things. That's when these things usually happen. Not always, but many times. And on top of that, remember, the narcissist never thought you would figure them out. In a million years, they never thought that you would figure them out. And the narcissist thinks, and or thought, I should say, that they're smarter than you, that they know more than you, that they're better than you. None of those things are true. The narcissist is nothing but an insidious parasite, a person who wants to take from other individuals who are unsuspecting. They want to take advantage of people that don't know their own worth or their own value. Now, fast forward when you are discarded and you put yourself back together, or if the relationship ended and you pulled away from the narcissist, what happened? Well, you had to heal. You had to learn to grow. You had to educate yourself. You had to have many sleepless nights, perhaps lose a lot of weight, gain a lot of weight, perhaps experience the dark night of the soul, but you had to put yourself back together. And you had to really be focused on you. That's what we do. That's how we heal. That's why we heal. What does the narcissist do? They just prance off into the darkness, look for another unsuspecting source of supply, glom onto them, take whatever they can from them, discard them, wash, rinse, repeat, rinse, wash, whatever it is. The rinse cycle, that's what they do. And I'm not making light of any of this. I'm just letting you know. You now are in the third version of you, or you're entering it, the galvanized, the most strongest version of you possible, because you've gone through something and conquered it, and or are conquering it, that most people, A, don't experience, but B, they don't come out on the other side, and C, they don't get the wisdom and apply it. That is not you. You are doing all three of those things, and you're becoming stronger every day. I read it in the community section or the comments section each and every day. So many people have come across the bridge to my side. So many people have healed and or are healing. So many people are in better places today than they were a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. They sincerely are. So stay with the course. Understand your value. If not now, when? Get the message. That relationship was over before it began. You never had a chance. You didn't. And I'm not trying to trigger you or upset you. I know what it's like. When you're in a relationship with an imposter, and play this again, when you are in a relationship with an imposter, it can't be sustainable. It can't survive. It can't make it. Something has to give. The weight of the relationship usually falls upon you, because you're trying to put everything back together and clean up the narcissist mess and put out their fires while they are out looking for your replacement. No relationship will ever survive like that. You need to have two people headed in the same direction and focused on each other's future and the betterment of that relationship. Not one person trying to puncture holes in the boat and the other person trying to fill them up so the boat stays afloat. It's not how it works. So guys, that's the video. I hope you liked it. I loved doing it from the beautiful Carolinas. This is Andrew. Namaste. Have a great afternoon, evening, or morning, no matter where you are on the planet. You are not alone. God bless you all. I love you guys. Have a great evening, and I will talk to you tomorrow. All right. Bye, guys.